At 68, Steve Harvey is one of the most recognizable entertainers in the world, but behind the laughter, success, and wealth lies a life story filled with heartbreak, pain, and unimaginable struggles. Many fans only see the sharp suits, the booming laughter, and the endless energy he brings to shows like Family Feud or his motivational speeches that dominate social media, but the truth is far more complicated. Harvey's journey to stardom was built on years of sacrifice, homelessness, broken marriages, and constant battles with self-doubt and depression. Even today, in 2025, while his career continues to thrive, he has faced ongoing family controversies and persistent rumors that remind the world of his fragility. The tragedy of Steve Harvey is not in the loss of talent or fame, but in the private suffering he endured for decades while carrying the weight of public expectation. His life serves as both an inspiration and a heartbreaking reminder that success never erases pain. It only hides it behind the spotlight. Born in Welch, West Virginia, on January 17, 1957, Steve Harvey grew up in a family that struggled financially but never lacked discipline or faith. His father, Jesse Harvey, was a coal miner, and his mother, Eloise, instilled strict Christian values that would shape his outlook on life. Yet, Harvey's childhood was marked by constant poverty, wearing hand-me-down clothes, often unsure of where the next meal would come from. In school, when asked to share what he wanted to be when he grew up, he proudly declared he wanted to be on television, only for his teacher to mock him and tell him it would never happen. That moment of humiliation left a scar so deep that Harvey carried it into adulthood, but it also became a turning point. The tragedy of poverty didn't just shape his sense of humor, it built his resilience. He has often said he would later mail that same teacher a television set every year just to prove her wrong, but beneath the humor lies the wound of a boy constantly told to dream smaller. Before he became a household name, Steve Harvey endured one of the darkest periods of his life, homelessness. In the late 1980s, while trying to break into comedy, Harvey found himself with no stable income, no support, and no home. For 3 long years, he lived in his car, surviving on packets of bologna sandwiches, washing up in public restrooms, and parking in random lots where he could get a few hours of sleep. He often recalls how his only solace came from the moments on stage, when he could forget his reality for a few minutes by making others laugh. The tragedy here is not just in his suffering but in how close he came to giving up. Many nights, Harvey has admitted, he sat in his car in despair, wondering if pursuing his dream was worth the price he was paying. But he chose to endure the pain, and those 3 years became the crucible that forged the unstoppable determination fans would later admire. While Harvey's career eventually took off, his personal life was plagued with heartbreak. His first marriage to Marcia Harvey ended in divorce in 1994 after 14 years. Leaving Steve devastated and distant from his children during the hardest years of his career. His second marriage to Mary Shackelford also ended badly, with public accusations, legal battles, and painful disputes that played out in tabloids. Divorce not only left emotional scars but also drained Harvey financially, costing him millions. Worse yet, it damaged his reputation as accusations of infidelity and betrayal swirled in the media. The tragedy of Harvey's marriages was that his pursuit of career stability often came at the cost of his relationships, and he later admitted deep regret about the time he lost with his children. While he eventually found lasting love with his current wife, Marjorie, the ghosts of his failed marriages still haunt him and remain a reminder that personal happiness often came second to professional ambition. While fans saw Steve Harvey's rise in comedy, television, and motivational speaking as a triumph, few knew the battles he was fighting in private. Harvey has spoken candidly about struggling with depression and overwhelming exhaustion during his career, especially when balancing multiple jobs, endless touring, and family obligations. Behind the smile and laughter, there were nights of loneliness and despair, moments where he questioned whether he could continue carrying the weight of his responsibilities. In interviews, he has revealed that his faith in God was the only thing that pulled him back from the brink, reminding him that his pain had a purpose. The tragedy of his depression was hidden from the public eye, masked by the very humor that kept him going. His story is a sobering reminder that even those who appear the strongest, the most joyful, are often carrying the heaviest burdens behind closed doors. Steve Harvey's family life has been a constant source of controversy and strain, especially in recent years. While he has always emphasized the importance of family and spoken about raising his children with discipline and faith, he has also faced criticism and painful public feuds. His second ex-wife, Mary, made allegations of mistreatment and exclusion, leading to a very public legal battle. At the same time, rumors and tensions within his blended family, especially with Marjorie's children from a previous marriage, have often made headlines. In 2023 and 2024, online speculation about infidelity and separation flooded social media, forcing Harvey to publicly defend his marriage. The tragedy is not simply the rumors themselves but the toll it has taken on his mental health and his image. For a man who has always valued privacy and respect, watching his family drama become a public spectacle has been deeply painful, even as he tries to maintain grace and composure. Harvey's career has been filled with incredible highs, but fame has also magnified his mistakes, making every misstep a global headline. The most infamous came in 2015, when he accidentally crowned the wrong winner at the Miss Universe pageant. The blunder instantly went viral, turning him into the butt of countless jokes and internet memes. Although Harvey handled the mistake with humility and humor, the humiliation lingered. For someone who had worked so hard to earn respect, the ridicule was crushing. Beyond Miss Universe, Harvey has faced criticism for controversial comments, political remarks, and even business decisions that backfired. The tragedy of fame is that while it brought Harvey success and wealth, it also magnified his flaws, leaving little room for forgiveness in the court of public opinion. Behind the scenes, he has admitted the pressure of constantly being perfect weighed heavily on him, a burden few could ever carry. Even with a net worth that runs into the hundreds of millions, Harvey has not been immune to financial heartbreak. Years of divorces, lawsuits, and poor management left him vulnerable at multiple points in his career. In 2017, Harvey revealed that his accountant had mishandled his taxes for 7 years, leaving him with a massive multimillion-dollar tax debt that nearly destroyed him financially. The shock of realizing that his empire was at risk left him devastated, forcing him to rebuild from the ground up yet again. While most fans assume his wealth insulates him from hardship, the reality is far different. Money, for Harvey, has often been as much a source of stress as security. The tragedy here is that even when he thought he had finally made it, financial betrayals and obligations threatened to undo everything he worked for, proving that wealth does not guarantee peace. As Harvey has aged, new challenges have emerged that add to the heartbreak of his journey. At 68, he remains energetic and sharp, but the physical demands of hosting multiple shows, traveling constantly, and maintaining his empire have taken their toll. Harvey has spoken about battling high blood pressure, exhaustion, and the physical wear of decades in entertainment. Aging in the spotlight has also meant constant scrutiny of his appearance, with critics online quick to mock or question his health at any sign of fatigue. For someone who thrives on stage presence and charisma, the fear of slowing down or being replaced is a haunting reality. The tragedy of aging in fame is that Harvey is forced to confront his own limits in front of the world, balancing the pride of his accomplishments with the vulnerability of his humanity. Perhaps the greatest tragedy of Steve Harvey's life is the burden of expectations, both those imposed by others and those he placed on himself. As a comedian, he is expected to always be funny, as a motivational speaker, to always be wise, as a television host, to always be charming. But behind the roles, Harvey is simply a man who has struggled, failed, and suffered like anyone else. The weight of always being on has cost him dearly, robbing him of rest and peace. He often admits that while people see him as endlessly confident, he still carries insecurities that trace back to his childhood. Living with the pressure to constantly inspire others has been a double-edged sword, giving him purpose but also magnifying his own pain. The tragedy here is that Harvey rarely has space to simply be himself without the weight of an audience watching his every move. Despite all his tragedies, Harvey's story is also one of resilience. He has always credited his faith in God as the anchor that kept him from giving up, even in his darkest hours. From sleeping in his car to becoming one of the most influential entertainers in the world, Harvey's journey proves that perseverance can turn pain into power. His motivational speeches have touched millions, his books have inspired countless people, and his television presence continues to make audiences laugh daily. Yet, even here, tragedy lingers, because every success reminds him of the immense suffering it took to get there. His triumph is bittersweet. He achieved his dream, but at a cost so heavy it continues to shape him even now. Still, Harvey's ability to turn tragedy into testimony remains his greatest legacy, a reminder that even broken stories can inspire hope. At 68, Steve Harvey's life is both heartbreaking and inspiring, a paradox that defines his legacy. He has given the world laughter, wisdom, and unforgettable television moments, but behind the spotlight lies a man who endured crushing poverty, homelessness, broken marriages, depression, financial betrayal, and endless public scrutiny. His story is not just one of tragedy but of resilience, a reminder that greatness is often forged in fire. As of 2025, Harvey continues to work, inspire, and rebuild, proving that his spirit remains unbroken. Yet, the tragedy of his life is undeniable. Every smile hides scars, every joke masks pain, and every success carries the shadow of the suffering it took to achieve it. In the end, Steve Harvey's life is a heartbreaking testimony to the reality that even the strongest figures in entertainment are deeply human, and sometimes, their pain is greater than their fame.